Hello, everybody. Welcome to Happy Hour Sports Talk. I, of course, am the perfect one, AJ, trying not to cough up my drink, dude. It went down the wrong pipe. I just cannot. I can't regulate it, bro. And so I'm dying. I'm the perfect one, AJ. That's the money train, Noah. How you doing, bud? It's been a while. Oh my God. Fuck.
Well, I'm doing all right. I don't know how you're doing over there, but hey, get it together.
We're
Uh,
back. I'm locked in.
yeah, no, I'm great. Got a big old birthday coming up tomorrow. Got the day off from work, a little long
Hell yeah.
weekend, a little Final Four. I already have the preconceived notion of calling out on Tuesday next week.
I've I've started to float that by my manager. I've started to float it by my manager and be like, I've just covered for someone all week. Like, how bad would it be if I just didn't show up on Tuesday? Like, how bad would we be looking? And she, kind of knows what's going on and everything in the sports world, so she like understands, but we'll see to the degree that she understands when I give her a ring on Tuesday morning. Well, hey, we can't get ahead of ourselves, Noah. We cannot get ahead of ourselves.
No.
We still have a game on Saturday,
Yeah,
a big game on Saturday,
I,
two big games on Saturday. No, we cannot be thinking about Tuesday night.
I wasn't getting ahead of myself. I was just like, depending on what happens this weekend, I was like, yeah, I'm like, hey, boss, there's a good chance I'm calling out on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
One way or
There's a
another.
chance. There's a chance. Yeah, there's an absolute chance. But again, can't get ahead of ourselves, Noah. We've got a big Saturday coming up, and we will get to all of the games. Yes, all two of them in a moment. Before we do that, do want to take a moment. Shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble over on YouTube. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help out a lot more than you know, but we're going to have to make the people wait, Noah. We're going to have to make the people wait. We're going to start with Illinois UConn, a game that I truly believe is being slightly overlooked for what could be potentially one of the best games. And I mean, actually, you know what? No, we're going to hold on. We're going to put a pause on that really quick. Let's talk about the tournament as a whole, okay? I don't want to talk about individual games or anything like that, just this tournament as a whole, because, going into week one, going into the first weekend, it was a lot of talk of, Cinderella's dead. NIL's killed the Cinderella. This tournament sucks. Give me Cinderella. Give me more teams. Give me more opportunity, yada, yada, yada. And now that we're sitting here 2 nights away from the Final Four, I got to give this tournament a solid A+, dude. I really do. And I mean, you can say due to lack of Cinderellas and everything like that. I still think, we had a couple, but again, big name schools, hard to call them Cinderellas, like a Texas at any time. But at the end of the day, it's been nothing but great basketball. It has been like the games have been great. We've had the March drama, and I don't know, man. I'm at an A+ with this tournament. I think this has been one of the better tournaments in recent memory, and not just because U of A's in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to compare it to like last year, last year was pretty damn boring. It was super chalk. This year, and people want to say, okay, Cinderella's dead. I think there's some validity to that. I don't think Cinderella's dead. I think Cinderella just looks a little bit different, right? Cinderella's now, at least in the past few years, the Cinderellas are the power conference teams who went 3 or 4 games above 500, went 500 in league play, and then are making Sweet 16 Elite 8 runs, which we are seeing some of that. Like, Texas, whether or not you want to call them a Cinderella, I feel like BYU was way overseeded at a 6. I think Gonzaga was not a very strong 3, so that's fine, that's whatever. But you get Tennessee as a 6 seed. They go in, they knock off 3-seeded Virginia, they knock off 2-seeded Iowa State. Looked the part until they got blown out by Michigan, and then Iowa. Fucking Iowa going in there and just wreaking havoc on the what was that, the South region?
Yeah. Down there in the South.
Yeah, so I mean, it just looks a little bit different, but it's also such a small sample size, right? Since the NIL and everything, and let's not forget, We had a Final Four matchup a couple years back between FAU and San Diego State, and that was
exactly
in the NIL era. That was only 3 years ago. That was
exactly. And NIL hasn't been around a long time, and it's not going to be, and it's going to be something that's going to continue to change, and it'll continue to change the sport, which I think we've talked about at great length. But I think the thing that everyone kind of overlooks is that we are in the NIL era. All it takes is one successful alum who's been watching March Madness and actually had their team go to the round of 32. And it's like, oh, it was fun to watch them play 2 games. Did we get blown out? Absolutely. But what would $1 million do for that team? What would $2 million do for that team? What would 3? You know what I mean? Then it can start to get going at some point. You know what I mean? And I do think there is a light at the end of the tunnel for Cinderellas. I'm not saying every team's going to go that route, but there's still chances to catch fire in a bottle or lightning in a bottle. Is it fire or lightning in a bottle?
Lightning in a bottle.
Damn, I was close, but yeah.
I just think that, the public's being way too quick to jump to conclusions here, saying Cinderella is dead. I get the logic behind the argument. But again, you look at the sample size of this, it's so small. What's not to say we just had 2 or 3 tournaments where it just went kind of chalky.
Yeah, the top 4 teams were the top 4 teams, and UConn, of course.
Yeah. And there were some dogs in there that maybe got just some bad matchups. I feel like this year, the whole field was like super top heavy for the top 20, 25 teams. A lot of those teams getting the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. Like this year, it was just so much stronger at the top that I'm not surprised that there weren't like a ton of upsets. But, you have Florida losing to 9-seeded Iowa in the second round. Duke obviously blows that lead against UConn. I don't know if that's crazy or not because UConn being the 2 seed. But, the seeding was a little bit weird, but I think because it was so heavy at the top, it was a little bit harder to differentiate between maybe a 3 and a 5 seed.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because I look at a team like some of the 12s, 13s, they just got really bad draws. Like Northern Iowa, that was a terrible draw for them to be matched up against St. John's in the first round. It was bad matchup wise, and St. John's probably should have been a 3 seed if I'm being completely honest. But then it was the hard part when the bracket comes out and it's like, okay, St. John's shouldn't be a 5. They should probably be a 3. You could make the same argument for Arkansas, but then it's like, well, which one of the 3s are you going to bump down to the 4 or 5 line? And at some point, there's got to be a decision made in there. And again, very top heavy this year. We did still get some upsets out of it. Got some good ones. Not as many of those low-seeded teams competing or winning in the first round, but Siena took Duke to the very last minute.
Yeah, exactly. And that was unbelievable.
I don't think Cinderella's dead by any means. If it is, we're going to need another 5-6 years to fully determine that.
Yeah, NIL.
At least another three tournaments beyond this one to be like, okay, yeah, Cinderella's dead. Because again, the sample size is small enough that it's like maybe we just saw a couple tournaments in a row where there wasn't a Cinderella. And that's happened before. There's been tournaments in the past before NIL was a thing that went pretty chalky, that had mostly 1s and 2s and 3 seeds in the Sweet 16 Elite 8. Just because we didn't get a 15 over a 2 or a 14 over a 3 this year, or last year, I'm like, you're looking at a 2 years. The number of games you're looking at is less than 20. And when these teams are coming in as anywhere from 12 to 35-point dogs, they're going to win a few of those games, but if you're a 15 to 30-point dog, you're going to lose most of those games. That team's going to lose most of the time.
Oh, yeah. And I talked about it on Monday, I think it was, about NIL and just where we're at with college sports and everything. And, it's a mess in college football, and the schedule's a mess in college football. Everyone talks about how bad it is in college football. College basketball is going through the same shit. You know what I mean? College basketball is going through the same shit. And so as NIL gets figured out as a whole, with college football, college basketball, with everything, then I think we'll start to see the return of quote unquote traditional Cinderellas. But until that happens, but again, we're getting great games out of every single, out of most of these matchups. It's been, last weekend was an absolute cinema, if I can say it. Noah, is it worthy? I think it was cinema. It was worthy of that. It was an unbelievable weekend. And then ending with UConn and Duke. Chef's kiss, dude. Absolutely beautiful.
I guess my main point there is like the way the tournament's set up, like there is a good likelihood that more often than not, most, if not all, the 1s and 2 seeds are going to be in the Sweet 16. Probably a handful of 3s. Yeah, people just. I think the public just. They love rooting for the underdog, and I'm all for that.
But who doesn't?
But a lot of these teams, they're underdogs for a reason, and that's not to say they can't string together some wins. It just, like I said, it hasn't happened in the last couple of years. But we're only 3 years removed from. Is it even 3, or are we 2 years removed from FAU and San Diego State?
Was it 3 years ago?
It was 2020. Was it 2023?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. 3 years removed, 23.
Yeah, and again, NIL's been a thing for 5-6 years now, and so that happened. That tournament happened. Purdue lost in the first fucking round to a 16 seed. And then FAU goes all the way to the Final Four as a 9 seed. Like, that's my problem with being like, okay, yeah, Cinderella's dead. Like, it's a reaction on the last 2 fucking tournaments because they both went relatively chalky. But this tournament's been very entertaining, hell of a lot of fun. Even though it has been, for the most part, pretty chalky. But again, like you had. You look at the Sweet 16. You had an 11 seed, a 9 seed in there. You had a 9 seed in the Elite 8, a 6 seed in the Elite 8. Like, let's pump the brakes a tiny bit. Because just because there's not a non-power conference, there's not a mid-major making a deep run, doesn't mean there hasn't been excitement. And I mean, this year I wouldn't give it an A+, AJ. I wouldn't go that far. I'm at probably a B+ with this tournament. From a neutral standpoint, obviously Arizona being in the Final Four gets me to an A+. But if I'm looking at it from a neutral standpoint, I give it a B+. But last year was like a C-.
Yeah, like, it was just so shocking.
Entertainment value-wise, last year was like C-. I'm saying this year's tournament, I give it a B+ so far. But we are in for some really, really entertaining games in the 2 Final Four games in the national championship here.
It's going to be great now. And we did leave out one Cinderella in Tennessee, and then they had the privilege of getting absolutely ass slammed by Michigan. Can't forget. Oh, McCormick's in the chat. What's good, brother? Hope you're. I missed that message. Sorry, buddy.
I wouldn't call a 6 seed going to the Elite 8 a Cinderella. A 6 seed in the Final.
I guess my opinion of Tennessee is just so low.
Well, like 6 seed in the Final Four, I can maybe get there. Elite 8. No, not necessarily, because if you're talking about a 10 or 11 seed, like different story. But 6 seed going to the Elite 8.
Yeah. Well, let's get to it, Noah. Final Four coming to us live from Indianapolis, Indiana. They're playing in the whatchamacallit, right? What's that place called?
Should be Lucas Oil Stadium.
Thank you. I could not remember the name of it. My brain is so out of football right now, and then we got to get back into it for the draft, but we got to get through the Masters first. We're busy now, Noah. We're really busy. But anyway, thank you, McCormick. I like the shirt as well. Let's get to the first game on the slate, Noah. Illinois, UConn coming in at 1.5 point dogs in this one. 139.5 is the total, plus 110 on the money line for UConn. Slight favorite here for Illinois. You got 60% of the bets, 53% of the money on.
I would say UConn just based on the way the lines moved.
On UConn, opened up at 2, now down to the 1.5.
I've seen it as high as 3.5.
I think I did as well at one point. Yeah, again, shop your lines depending on who you're booking. But +1 money line is actually going to be flipped. So 46% of the bet, 61% of the money coming in on Illinois, minus the 126. Fans don't want to pay for the point. I mean, excuse me, they're okay paying the VIG, not to deal with the 1.5. So
that's so interesting because, like, normally, whatever situation we're looking at a game. If it's a tight spread, we're normally seeing, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, AJ, but most of the time it's the public on the money line is on the underdog, but on the favorite on the spread when you get a real tight, point spread in both basketball, football, whatever it may be. So you're telling me this is the opposite. Public's on Illinois money line, but UConn spread, albeit a real small spread.
But again, 46% of the bet, 61% of the money. I'm thinking a lot of people are going with a favorites parlay of Illinois and Michigan because people have been just like absolutely just jerking off the Big Ten all tournament long, which understandably the Big Ten's been solid in this tournament, but still, it's very interesting to me that the public then goes to UConn after, and I think a lot of it has to do with how they played Duke. Everyone viewed Duke and the Boozer brothers and everyone on that team as one thing. And then out comes UConn and Dan Hurley in March. And should he have been ejected? Should he be suspended for a game? I don't know. That's up to the referees. But at the end of the day, the public, the public is interesting on this one. But let's get to it, Noah. Who you got?
This one's just very, very interesting to me.
It's a gross game. It's one of those games, like if I saw this on a Saturday, I'm just kind of stay away from it and enjoy. But it's Final Four, so,
Yeah, I could see this game going a lot of different ways. That involves blowouts in either direction, as well as it being a real tight one in either direction. But at the end of the day, the big difference maker for me here, Illinois back in the Final Four for, I believe, the first time since 2005.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck is that? That is a weird.
There we go. Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley's done a little bit. He's done a little bit of winning in March.
Just a little bit, Noah. He's won a couple rings and everything like that.
Say whatever you want. Say what you will about him. Not the most savory person, in my opinion, but the dude knows how to fucking win in March. I believe he's either 17 or 18-1 over the last 4 tournaments.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That is insane. Brad Underwood. He's had on the flip side of that, Brad Underwood's track record is losing early with good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Illinois finally gets that deep run that they haven't been able to achieve. They haven't even sniffed a fucking Final Four in recent years. If anything, they love losing as a 2-3 seed in the first round, 1, 2, 3, whatever it may be. I think that's the difference maker for me here. I'm going UConn on the money line. I do think this game has the potential to be a 15-point UConn blowout.
Oof.
I don't know, but then I go with Illinois and I go back to that Houston game, and I do think Houston just shot the ball incredibly terrible.
That was a bad game for Houston.
Illinois, they don't have a bad defense, but they're not necessarily known for their defense. If you told me that game was going to be so low scoring, I would have said, "Oh, Houston won that easy." I was shocked Illinois somehow pulled off a low scoring win over Houston, which is the only thing. Like, part of me is like, okay, Illinois is good enough; they can do this. But ultimately, that's where I get to is, they can do this, they can pull this off. Yet they're favored in this game, and every bone in my body is telling me UConn should be favored by about 4.5, 5.5 points in this. So I'm on UConn. I'm on the money line.
Another tidbit for this, you know what I mean? It's a Final Four. There's only 2 games they have to book, the sports books that is. And so the fact that they were willing to so early in the week, you know, because it has been early, move it from that 3.5, 2.5 down to the 1.5. I mean, they're letting the public kind of, you know, push them in that direction, which for them to be, you know, in a spot where they should be very confident in the line that they're booking, they're giving into the public a little bit. Does it go to a pick 'em? Absolutely not. I don't know. I don't think the book will put it at a pick 'em. I think they would flip the line before they do anything. I mean, maybe you're looking at a half. Maybe you're looking at a half point, but you're not going to find it as a straight pick.
They won't do a half point. But to your point, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they want the pick 'em in there. That's just
They definitely don't. No.
because if this ends up being a 1-point game in either direction, yeah. So I do agree with you.
They're going to want that hook. Yeah.
They won't drop it down to a pick 'em, but I do think there is a possibility out there where they do flip this line potentially, depending on where the money and the bets are coming in, from Illinois -1.5 to UConn -1.5.
And then also on that, you only have a 3-cent difference between where the money line opened for Illinois and a 5-cent difference where UConn opened. So money line not moving. So the book is staying strong on the money, but the spread they're going to let the public take and run with a little bit, it seems. You might get some good closing line value on this one, depending on where the big bettors come in, because the big bettors haven't even started yet, probably.
Well, yeah, it's usually the case. The whales usually come in within an hour or two a tip.
Yeah. So anyway, with all that being said, Noah, I'm on UConn as well in this one. I think the way they performed against Duke was incredible. Illinois has a solid team. If UConn comes up and has a game like Houston did, then yeah, I can see Illinois taking control of this game and not letting up. However, again, Dan Hurley...
UConn will not shoot the ball as terribly as Houston did in that game. Granted,
no, Dan Hurley won't let him. Dan Hurley would make them run suicides at halftime if they do.
Granted, Houston is a much better defense than UConn, which is why that game ended up so low and didn't actually, the final score, it was a lot tighter than that in that Houston-Illinois game. But Houston couldn't buy a fucking shot, but their defense kept them within reasonable striking distance. UConn doesn't have the shooting problems that Houston has had at times this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Illinois' defense is not good enough to keep UConn off the board. Illinois is going to have to shoot the ball better than UConn does to win this game. And are they capable of that? Absolutely. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
We will. I'm excited for that one. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but which is why I'm leaning a little bit towards the under. I know it's a low under at 139.5, but I'm intrigued. Oh, mother of God. Matt Olson just went absolutely yard on Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Sorry.
I'm on the flip side. I'm all over the over on this game because I think Illinois is going to get theirs. They're going to score their points. I do feel like UConn's going to have no problem matching that, though. And again, I think if Illinois wants to win this game, they are going to not have to shoot as well as UConn, but they'll have to shoot better than UConn.
I'm there. I'm there, Noah. But before we get to this next game, Noah, I want to take you back. I want to take you, put on your little time machine helmet that I sent over and put it on there. No, I want to take you back to March 1997. Little AJ K-Tech was, maybe, 6 months? I was born in September, so like 6-ish months. Little AJ was 6 months old. He didn't know a basketball from his hand. He didn't know what was going on. And yet, close to where I believe it was close to where I was living at the time. A man, a leader, a great coach in Lute Olson took the University of Arizona Wildcats to their first national championship. And Noah, that has been the only national championship won west of the Mississippi since. And U of A looking to do it again. First Final Four since 2001. Michigan has been here a hell of a lot more recently, but let's get into this one. God, I hit the wrong button again. I need to get used to these controls. Anyway, what the hell? There we go. Anyway, Arizona, Michigan. Michigan coming in 1.5 point favorites at minus 105. 157.5 is the total. Minus 120 on the money line for Michigan. Arizona, they are holding strong at plus 100 here. This is going to be tough. No, I'm going to give you a heads up. This is tough here. 58% of the bets, 48% of the money coming in on.
I'm going to say Michigan.
Coming in on Arizona. So public bets coming in at the 1.5, depending on what people got it at. And then about 48% of the 7%. So 42%, 52% for Michigan. And then money line, I mean, the money is dead even, 50% each on each side. Slightly favoring Arizona, 54% of the bets versus 46% of the bets. So I dare say the public is slightly on Arizona. The line moving about a half a point doesn't really do much for me in this case. With that being said, I mean, no, I do think this is the more than likely the whatchamacallit, the national championship game. I think whoever wins this game is going to be, in the natty and is going to be putting belt to ass at some point. That's just my thoughts on this one. You go ahead. You go first, Noah. You go first. You go first on this one.
Yeah, this is interesting for me. This is the first game of the tournament where I might have a little bit of nerves going about it. I might have a little bit of nerves. I was so confident about every other matchup we've had. Did start getting a little nervous, at the end of the first half against Purdue, but then we squashed that bug just fine. But going into that game, I was not worried about Purdue. Michigan, it was a tough-ass team. Good team. Oh, my God. Really good team.
Big team.
Really good coach in Dusty May. This is gonna be an interesting matchup. It's gonna be a tough matchup, and I think it comes down to 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting. How Michigan specifically is shooting the 3 ball, because Arizona, we know this team. We know how this team plays. We don't need to shoot threes. It's not really on our agenda. If they're open, we'll take them. If they're not, we're fine scoring all our points in the paint at the free throw line. I think that will continue. Arizona more free throw attempts than any other team in the country this season, but that's because we play through the paint. We had 90 fucking points between the paint and the free throw line against Arkansas.
That was awesome. Hard to score 90
points. Was great. It's hard to score 90 points in a fucking game. Doing that without making a three-pointer. Take out all the mid-ranges, too, that are out of the paint. Yeah, we scored 109 in that game, so we did have 19 of our points that came not from the paint or the free throw line. Crazy. And that's just how this team rolls. And somebody's going to be out there saying, oh, well, they're getting the benefit from the refs. No, that's not the case. When you run your entire offense through the paint, you're going to pick up a lot more fouls. That's how this offense is built. That's what we do. Arizona comfortable playing different paces. I think we're going to try to keep Michigan in the half court, and then it's going to be how well do we defend the 3-point line, because Michigan, they got a decent paint presence.
They do. They got some big boys.
Can't overlook that. But again, I think this is ultimately going to come down to, can Arizona hold Michigan under about 32% from 3? If that's the case, Arizona's going on winning this game. If Michigan's shooting 35-40% from 3, I unfortunately think Michigan's going to take that, but I think Arizona's got the guys, they got the dogs in there to do it. I imagine freshman Ivan Karchenkov probably going to be face guarding Yaxel Lendenberg for a good portion of this game, and he does have the capability defensively to.
Yeah, he does.
You're not going to shut down Yaxel, but you can limit him, and I think Arizona wins this game. I think it may be close. But I also do think there's the possibility in this, right? I think either team could win close. We talked about the last game. I could see either team blowing out the other one or either team winning close. This one, I don't see Michigan winning this in a blowout.
No.
It's either if Michigan's going to win, it's going to be a close, hard-fought win. Arizona could win a close, hard-fought game. if either of these teams is going to win by double digits, it's Arizona.
I would agree. I would agree. The way they play, I mean, it's
if Michigan's having a cold shooting night and we're dominating the boards like we do pretty much every game, I do think the possibilities there that Arizona wins this by 10, 15 points. I don't think that's out of the question.
yeah. I don't disagree. No, I don't disagree with you whatsoever. And I think it's hilarious. You got enough of these talking heads coming out here. Well, Arizona's not played a team like Michigan. You're right. We beat Duke and UConn and Florida like all within like a month. So what does that really do for anyone? Non-con, by the way, as well. Besides that, I mean, what did we do except run the Big 12? Yeah, we lost 2 games, win the Big 12 outright, win the Big 12 tournament. You're right. We haven't really faced anybody at all. We haven't faced anybody at all. Michigan, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, they went through the Big Ten. They did pretty well in the Big Ten. I mean, all things considered, we're number 1 for a little bit there. But at the end of the day, Noah, this U of A team is the best team that I think I've ever seen put some basketball shoes on and go out there and just play bully ball. And that's what it is. It is just bully ball. Get in the paint, throw your weight around, use your size, get aggressive, and get in there. It's what this team should have been like when DeAndre Ayton was here, if Ayton had any aggression in his body whatsoever. And sorry for the shot, Ayton. You're suffering right now with the Lakers. You don't deserve that. But my point being, this is the team. No, I think this is the team. I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where this is the team. I'm going to say thank you to the sportsbook and take the free money at plus 100. I'm also going to say thank you to the sportsbook for taking however big of a line and alternate spread they're going to give me. Right now, they're only offering me up to 2.5. Oh no, 5.5. Arizona 5.5. Nope. Arizona 2.5 at plus 125. So we're going to wait closer to game time and see if we can bump those numbers up. All right. I'm looking at like 6.5, 7.5. I'm hoping to get on this one, but this is going to be an unbelievable game. No, this is going to be U of A's hardest challenge. I have no doubts though in our Wildcats to go out there and get this one done in Ford Field in Indianapolis. And then Noah, maybe I'll have to put a bottle of champagne on ice and get ready, but bear down, go Cats. Let's go U of A. Go and win one here. Go win one here.
Yeah, hard part with this specific matchup too is these are 2 championship caliber teams. Like these are 2
absolutely.
Throw either of these 2 teams into most other tournaments throughout the year, and they're the heavy favorite. You just happen to have this collision course that, based on the way that the bracket was made, worked out that it's happening in the Final Four matchup, not in the national championship. But, I mean, this should live up to everything it's hyped up to be. Selfishly, I'm kind of hoping we get a 15-point fucking blowout. And then, God, can you imagine if this one, hypothetically, if it went either direction in about, 12 to 15 points, we're going to be getting a 6, 7, 8-point spread in the national championship game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be a high spread. It's going to be a relatively high spread for the Natty. Bonadizona for the whole thing. There we go. Way to be, McCormick. Way to be.
The
got him at 450. There you go, Bob.
The fact that right now you've got Michigan sitting at plus 170, Arizona sitting at plus 180 to win the whole thing. Both of them sitting under plus 200. I think the criminal lines are the future lines on UConn and Illinois. Yeah. Obviously, yes.
Oh yeah.
One of them has to win that, and then they just have to win a game. But I believe they're sitting at like plus 550, plus 600.
Yeah, if you think UConn can do it, you're getting great value right now. But
yeah, but clearly the books have stated the fact that they think whoever's winning this is winning the Natty just fine, and they'll probably be a minus 230, minus 250 favorite in the national championship game, whoever comes out of this one.
Yeah, so go get them while they're hot, either team, if you like them, because this is going to be the last time you're going to see either team at plus money, probably for their.
And from a betting perspective, don't take the future. Don't take the future on who's winning the national championship, because here's my little tip of the day. You do a fun little thing called bet whatever amount you're going to take on that future, and take either of these 2 teams' money line, and then just roll in your original bet plus the winnings into another money line, and it's going to pay out better than taking the plus 170 or plus 180. Not by a whole lot, but it might pay out, plus
The math.
220, 230 instead of plus 170, plus 180. Doesn't make any sense to take the future. Just take the money line on this game. Either, if you lose, you're out the same amount that you were anyways. If you get this one right, then you just roll all of that plus the winnings into the national championship game, and you'll make a bit. You'll make 30-40% more, I think. So.
Yeah, the math is mathing to me. So yeah, I think you're good there. But sweet, dude. Well, anything else you got to say about UConn or Arizona? Those are the two teams that we have winning this and playing in the national championship on Monday. But anything else in the college basketball world? Shout out Bill Self for going ahead and keeping his job and announcing that he's going to keep his job and stay at his job. And I did forget one thing with the Arizona-Michigan game. The health scare for Elliot Cadeau is okay. He is okay. He has rejoined his team and is getting ready for the Final Four. It was an allergic reaction to nuts he had, but he is doing okay.
Yeah, that was so weird. I'm like, the news headlines that came out that ESPN was throwing out there, I was like, this is some Adam Schefter level shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking nothing. And they were like, oh, yeah, the team or whoever, whatever, thinks it was an allergic reaction to something he ate. And I'm like, if you're allergic to something food-wise, you fucking know.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, it had to be catering or something like that they didn't know, or it wasn't a team.
They phrased it so weird and mysteriously, like it was some big news headline. And the team, yesterday morning, team went to Indy. He just ended up catching a different flight in the afternoon. Like it was literally like a couple hours later, he was totally fine. Like he just needed some antihistamines. He probably just needed an EpiPen is all it was. And nobody had one on hand or whatever. It's so stupid. Like, and ESPN loves fucking pushing these meaningless,
especially so close. Yeah.
To get clicks, and I bring up Adam Schefter because he's usually the one pushing all the shit in the NFL where it's like, why am I getting notifications, headlines about XYZ hypothetical, and then it just fizzles over after 6 hours and it actually didn't mean shit. But yeah, ESPN loves doing that shit.
They do.
And they were the ones who broke that headline. So just a little nugget there. But college basketball sphere, AJ. The other big story that's not March Madness, the big looming one, the North Carolina job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about it. No, that conversation doesn't make me comfortable. I'm not ready.
And North Carolina appearing to have basically no urgency with who they're interviewing and all this. The reason for that,
all their candidates are in the fucking Final Four.
I was going to say the reason for that, 3 of their top 4 candidates are still playing. And I know the two biggest names being thrown around, Tommy Lloyd probably first, Dusty May second. One not being talked about quite as much, Dan Hurley, which I do think is a very real possibility because North Carolina can pay him and equip him more than UConn can. After he won the back-to-back natties, UConn did give him a raise, brought him up from like $4 million to like $8 million. But I think North Carolina is prepared to pay in the $12 to $16 million a year range for this. And UConn's not going to be able to get above 8.5. They're just not going to. They just don't have the money for that.
Hey, who knows? Maybe the AD has dyslexia down there at UNC and is going to hire Bobby on.
Well, and I know the other big name that's been linked to this, Billy Donovan. Rumors, what I've been hearing with Billy Donovan is Billy Donovan's not going to take the time out of his day to answer phone calls, do whatever, unless he knows he's almost guaranteed the spot.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard regarding Billy Donovan is he's saying, don't waste my time unless you want to hire me. So you kind of got the same situation with Tommy Lloyd and Dusty May, right? North Carolina could be viewed, yes, as an upgrade, as a step up. Both of them, do they want to leave the current programs that they're at, that they are both in tremendous, tremendous positions? Yes, the future upside could be higher at North Carolina, but now what you got built, you got going to be a tough sell for both of those guys. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them end up, and I do think they'll both talk to North Carolina. Like, I don't think either of them are going to say, "Oh no, I'm not entertaining this at all. I'm staying." They're both going to see what that package is going to look like. But I do think there is a decent chance of both of them end up saying no to it if that dollar amount's not crazy. I don't know. But I could also see North Carolina with the boosters that they have and everything coming in with some insane $16 million a year salary, also pledging to spend, $12 to $15 million a year in NIL on these rosters. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. North Carolina obviously calculated. They're just waiting. They're in no hurry because, again, I think 3 of their 4 top candidates are all still fucking playing. And Absolutely. So they're going to wait until the Final Four, the championship's done. And I don't think anybody really knows who their top guy is. Seems to me like the bigger part of the public thinks Tommy Lloyd's that top target, but they're not really saying much. So, Dan Hurley could be the top target for all we know. Dusty May could be their top target.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to act very fast. I would say within 3 to 6 days after the national championship, we're going to know who's coaching North Carolina.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Once the Natty's over. But
yeah, and if none of these 3 guys want to move, I could totally see them calling Billy Donovan at that point and saying, okay, we're going to, you want to come to North Carolina? We're going to hire you. Here's a dollar amount. Leave the Bulls, come to us.
Leave them. But we'll wait and see what happens there. We got the Final Four to look forward to here, and then we'll get into the coaching carousel, and then we get draft prep. Well, no, then the Masters, then draft prep, Noah. Gonna be a busy April. Cannot wait for it. But bear down, go Cats. Hey, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to everyone here on Rumble, over on YouTube. We appreciate y'all. If you like what we're cooking, please hit that like button, hit the follow button. Does help out a lot more than you know. But with all of that, I'm the Brofect one, AJ. That's the Money Train, Noah. And we'll see you next time on Happy Hours Sports Talk.